You think people will realize that we recorded this before the 400th episode?
They will now.
That was a good hum. Hi everyone, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Steve, and this is 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar playing, fixing, breaking.
You started with playing. That
the
was
guitar,
it ends with
the
playing.
guitar,
Buying, selling,
trading, modding, fixing, breaking, reviewing, playing podcast.
Oh, it's late.
Dude, it's not even that late. It feels late.
It's been a long ass day too.
So if you look up what the weather was for the last month, you can figure out when we're recording this. But we basically went from like, weird, not California summer weather.
It was almost winter weather there for a couple days.
I would say it's winter weather right now.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
Because
it swung back and forth between being very pleasant and being like almost like that like mid-spring winter weather, you know,
yeah,
like that cold
but then
rain.
We had that thunderstorm,
and
I'm saying like thunderstorm, like that kind of like. I guess that set a record for lightning strikes in San Diego County.
That was bonkers.
And that's very much like an East Coast summer thing. Yeah. I think of like thunderstorms and whatever. People are like, oh, it's raining. Winter's here. I'm like, no, this isn't winter rain. Like
it was like tropical storm rain.
Yeah, this is like.
But it was cold too.
It was colder, but.
Oh, no, it wasn't cold rain, but like it got cold days after that.
Yeah.
And the weather's been so bonkers lately.
And so right now it's. When I leave, it's probably going to be in the low 50s.
I can't believe this climate keeps changing.
But then in the days, it's like low 70s. So we're getting like that. That's what I'm saying. We're getting like that 20-degree swing. That's like Santa Ana hallmark. But it's like messing with my sinuses real bad.
It's been wild for me.
Because of that, I'm just exhausted.
And here recording, because I come in the morning and start recording, and my fingers are cold. And then I get midday and I start sweating. It's like, pick a lane.
Yeah.
Right, guys? So anyways.
Ryan, what's a thing that you felt like an idiot when you realized it?
The prompt for the opening topic of this episode comes from Michael Krause. By the way, if you guys want to, drop prompts on us, topics for us to talk about in the podcast, go join the Facebook group. Every Thursday or every weekday that we record the podcast, I put up a post asking what do you guys want us to talk about? And so you guys can contribute in that way. Michael Krause asks, things that when you realize them, you thought, I'm an idiot. My example would be, the budget line of Ovation is named Applause. I'm an idiot for not realizing that sooner. He realized Ovation, like standing ovation, and then applause, like regular applause, is below standing ovation.
When he posted this, I'm like, how did you? It literally says applause by Ovation on the sound hole sticker. So why would you not realize that that's the Fender Squire thing and whatever? And then when I got here, you were like, well, no, they're like one is clapping and the other one is like standing and clapping. I was like, oh.
So you were both idiots. I've made that connection before, but I haven't spent real time thinking about it. Mm-hmm. But it makes me think there should be, how there's, Chrysler, Dodge, Plymouth. There should be a lower version under applause that's just like, like just a snort,
murmur,
a murmur.
I think it's murmur,
or like a nod, like like grunt and nod. There's ovation, standing ovation, applause, like, oh yeah, that was good, and then
It's HMM.
Light
guitars.
chuckle. Light chuckle guitar.
Chuckle.
Or maybe there should be something.
It'll just be called clap. Like applause implies multiple. Clap is just
one clap.
Slow clap guitars.
Or it goes the other direction and it's boo. Jeers.
That jeers is how I felt about applause.
I always called it applesauce.
Yeah, you did.
Because our friend Adam had an applause guitar, and the way it was written on the headstock in like an old timey kind of like cursive-y hippie font. Mm-hmm. I was like, does that say applesauce? It was like my own personal stupid inside joke that didn't make anyone laugh, but it still makes me laugh. And that's what's important. I had one like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, really, I was talking about how I bought a PV Bandit trans tube, and I didn't realize it was not a tube amp until I got it home. And I started.
That happened to you 3 weeks ago?
No, I talked about it on the podcast 3 weeks ago.
I know.
Like I felt like an idiot because I had thrown money that I worked really hard for and money that I worked really hard to save at it. Like I was a teenager when I bought that, and the amp I think was like $250 or something like that, which was a lot of money for me at the time.
Right.
I'm like, finally, I'm getting my first tube amp. It says it's 100 watts with a 12-inch speaker, trans tube. I get it home. I look in the back. I'm like, aren't there supposed to be tubes back here? And I get on the internet, which was so basic back then, just HTML and like GeoCity sites and stuff like that. And I figured out, oh my gosh, it's a solid state amp. I bought another solid state amp. It was a huge step up from the crate that I was using.
Right.
But I was still bummed. I was stoked. I thought I got a tube amp for $250. I don't know if I can think of anything else. Oh, the time I fried the Katana, I felt like an idiot.
Yeah, but do you know why you did, how that happened?
Yeah, I do. It's because I was testing different speakers with it.
Right.
And I left it disconnected. And a friend was over, and I brought him in the garage. Like, hey, check this amp out. And I turned it on, and I forgot I hadn't reconnected the speaker, and the cables were touching the chassis or something like that, and it just fried it. I was like, oh my gosh,
you shorted it out.
I'm an idiot. I'm such a dumbass.
That sounded gross.
Another one for me is like every time I learn like some new little piece of theory or some sort of musical knowledge, I'm like, oh, that's been explained to me multiple times. I've read about that multiple times, and this is the first time I actually get it. Like I'm the guy they make jokes about on the internet. Like I lived for years and years and years playing only a minor pentatonic scale in the first position. And then one day, it was after I started playing at church. One day I discovered major scales. It's like, wait, there's more. And I felt like such an idiot.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, how have I been playing so long without a major scale in my pocket?
I don't even know what any of those words mean, so I'm probably the real idiot here.
You're the person where when we were playing in church together, I would look at you like 5 bars into the song and be like, what key is this?
That did happen a lot.
What key
I knew
in?
at least what key they were in, but then because this goes back to never really being a lead player.
Right.
I don't know any scale. I know what notes are in a scale, but when someone's like, oh, just play just riff on this scale, I'm like, I don't know what that means.
Right.
Like people are like, oh, it's pentatonics. There's only 5 notes. I'm like, but there's 7 notes in a scale.
Which 5? What are you talking about? What does it even mean?
I'm going to play the first note and the 4th note and the 5th note. I know those ones are safe.
I only just realized how much I love playing half steps. Like my thing lately has been when I play a scale, I'm just like, show me the half steps. I just want to jump from half step to half step. You forget those full steps. I'm done with those. Just playing the half steps gives you this instant, kind of dark Tim Burton sort of sound right out of the gate.
I think my idiot thing has been anytime I've done a live sound application, if I've been running sound or whatever, and I end up, or when I was recording stuff at home remotely, and realizing that I can't plugging in a mic and getting not realizing until I'm hitting record and nothing's working that I'm using a condenser and that I need to add power to it. And just get the whole thing going, and you're just I actually deal with that at work all the time because we have these not the phantom power thing, but something that I feel like is similar, and a lot of people don't even realize it is a lot of people are using headsets, or they're just using a lot of people are using headsets, and for whatever reason, I think if you plug in your headsets to the computer after you connect to a call, maybe that's what's causing it. I don't really know. It will send the audio to your headset, but you'll still be using the computer microphone. And you can still mute it and whatever, but then the computer microphone is way more sensitive than like I have.
So it'll pick up the whole room.
You guys have seen my headset because I've done it for like some of when I've had to when Lauren had COVID. So I've got like the mouthpiece and it's I don't feel like it picks up a lot of sound outside of like 6 inches.
Sure.
But a laptop microphone is designed to be put in like the middle of a room.
It picks up the whole
and
room.
Pick up the whole, the entire conference table, right?
Right.
And I work in an open office, and so people have this, and they will be picking up conversations like 6-10 feet away that other people are having. And one of the people who keeps having this problem sits next to someone who's in charge of validating equipment for use. And so every once in a while we're on a client call and all of a sudden I'll hear something about like, I don't know if that equipment's going to be ready on time. And I'm like, no, that's bad.
They're not supposed to hear that part.
Anyway, so stuff like that where it's just simple. Like, did you turn it on? Did you select the right input output? Type things whenever I've been recording or like again, recording at home on Audacity or back when I used to record church sermons and GarageBand and whatever. And you got to get all your inputs put in and and all this stuff.
If you guys go back and listen to the very first episodes of this podcast, I had a lot of I'm an idiot moments, like learning how to mix and edit the audio. Man, like I did not know what I was doing. I had done some home recording,
right,
and had been able to fudge things out. But the challenge of recording 2 loud dudes in a room without getting into each other's mics and using compression in a way that didn't cause us to be in each other's mixes and stuff like that, and out of phase issues and stuff like that. I was wrestling hard with a lot of that stuff. And when I figured it out each time, it's like, you idiot. Why did it take you? Why were you doing such a dumb thing? I did all this stuff that was so dumb trying to record 8 years ago.
I had that. We talked about the Hot Rod Deluxe, having a Hot Rod Deluxe. And that was one of those amps that had 2 channels. Shared EQ, but one channel only had a volume knob and the other one had a gain and a volume knob. But it took a while to figure out exactly which volume knobs applied when. And the problem is like, you're always like turning 2 knobs at once. Like it's hard to just be like, I just need to turn 1 knob. So it's like, I need more gain. So you turn the gain and then you turning this and that and whatever. And you think you're affecting things, but you're not. And you're like, oh, I got the perfect sound. I just got to turn this volume down and this gain up. I'm like, the volume I just turned down, like realizing later, like the volume I turned down is on a different channel. I didn't do anything, but I thought I did.
Right. A big one for me very early is when I got my first electric guitar. Mm-hmm. It had a cheap licensed Floyd Rose on it. Mm-hmm. I broke my first string on it. No. What happened was, like within the first week I got it, I started taking it apart and unscrewing things and checking things out. I wanted to know how it worked.
Right.
And so I was unscrewing with an Allen key the bolt that holds the string in.
Oh, okay.
But I thought it was like an intonation adjustment. I was like, if I turn this, does it move it? Or like, what does this adjust? And so I loosened it and it released the string. So the string fell out. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like trying to figure out how to get it back in. And then I get it back in and I realized how it worked. And then I did break a string. No. Okay. I'm starting to remember now. So it popped out as like, oh no, the string popped out and the ball end fell off somewhere because I'd only restrung acoustics up to that point. I had no knowledge of how Floyd's worked.
Right.
I was like, where'd the ball end go? And so then I take the whole guitar to the local shop, and I'm like, I need to get new strings on this, and I don't know how this bridge works. And the people, it's the local shop that rents trumpets to the high school.
Yeah.
They didn't know how to string a Floyd Rose either. Mm-hmm. So it's me and two knuckleheads at this music shop who don't know anything about Floyd Rose bridges, looking at it like, where do you put the ball in?
I was gonna say, aren't you supposed to trim? You trim that, right?
Yeah, you trim the ball end off and then you put it in there and you clamp it down, and the little piece of metal clamps down onto it. But none of us knew that.
Right.
I had to get on the internet to figure it out. That's what had to happen, and it felt so weird to me. Like, I have to trim the ball end off, and then I did dumb things where I left most of the wind on there because I was like, oh, if I leave the wind on there, it'll grab it better, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that kind of works for the wound strings, but for the high strings that are unwound, that makes no sense, and it ended up damaging the saddles.
Do you ever have this idiot moment when you're playing live? This happens to me every once in a while. It happens to me particularly with the Eastwood, that classic 4-bass. I'll be going through. I remember one week going through like the entire, at least half of a rehearsal. So like two songs, maybe 3 songs, and being like, man, what the heck is my sound guy doing? Like, this sounds like crap. Like, this just sounds so muddy. I've got like no gain. I'm like using we're doing in-ears. I've got like the bass channel cranked. I'm like, what in the world is going on? Like, this just sounds awful. It's so quiet. There's no definition. Like, what is going on with the EQ? Like, what are they doing? And then I realized that my tone is completely rolled off.
I do that, but I do it with my volume pedal. And like, what happens is like, because every now and then the sound guy turns something or adjusts something and he doesn't realize what it is. And that happens. It happens from time to time. I'll be like, hey, how come my volume's cut in half? Hey, man, I just lost like a lot of signal. Can you turn me back up? And so I'm begging the sound guy to turn me back up. And he's like, man, like, there's not a lot of room left to turn you back up. And it's like, there must be, because I was louder before and now I'm quiet. And then I look down after arguing for probably 5 minutes and I realize, oh, I've got my volume pedal half cocked right now. Now I look like an asshole.
Good job.
Because I am an asshole. Yeah, there's so many moments where I feel like an idiot.
There's always like a knob or something that's not set right. And
right.
It's like,
oh my gosh, recent one. That video I did at Sweetwater. I brought my pedal board. We spent all this money shipping my pedal board out to Sweetwater.
Yeah.
When the video launched, well, I didn't realize it launched until like 8 hours later. I go and start reading the comments as I'm watching the video, and all these people are like, hey, how come you skipped over the Wampler? I was like, what? And I watched the whole video, and I totally skipped over the Wampler bell.
Gosh.
And I put it on there so intentionally. I wanted to talk about it. I talked to Dawn about it for like half an hour before we recorded.
That's probably why you thought you talked about it. And you're also like, I'm at Sweetwater. I'm like 3 hours away from the friggin' Wampler shop.
It made me feel sick to my stomach how stupid it was that I went from the Carcosa to the HM2 and completely skipped over. I think I was just excited to talk about the HM2.
And then Wampler's Instagram went down. It was all your fault.
I owe Brian a gift basket of edible arrangements or something like that.
Of edible goats.
Goat cheese. Oh man, I'm still cringing from that. I probably have hundreds of moments where I felt stupid and awful.
I just liked all the comments on that video where people were like, man, Sweetwater's hit a new low.
I tried to talk them out of it. They're like, hey, you should come do like a pedal board run through thing. And it's like, and they sent me an example, and the example they sent me was Phil X. You should have sent one of the ones with like a normal person, because I'm not Phil X, guys. Phil X wouldn't have skipped over the Wampler pedal. I'll say that.
Like, they sent me an example, and it was Eddie Van Halen.
Oh my gosh, it might as well have been. I mean, man. any professional guitarist could just cream me. But I'll put myself in front of a camera and make a fool of myself any chance I get. So that's what I did.
You're doing it right now.
I'm doing it right now. All right, let's make this episode shorter than the last episode.
Right.
Let's move on to a sponsor, maybe?
Oh, I was going to do this 420 bass sent by Paul Weller.
Oh, yeah, it's the 420 bass.
Speaking of 420 bass, how you feeling, man?
I did take my bedtime edible right before we pressed record. So keep an eye on me. We'll see what happens.
This bass is putting the P in pot bass.
You know,
because it's a precision bass.
Yes, it's a precision. Well, it's actually a T bass. It's a Telecaster style bass.
But it's got the P pickup.
It's a THC bass, Steve.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
New custom made bass, Seymour Duncan quarter pounder. Quarter pounder should have been a quarter.
You know what's wrong about this
Fender
bass?
license neck
Is that basses go low when this bass is clearly trying to get high. Like they should have made a ukulele.
It sounds and plays great. It's got
mandolin.
It's got those like DR neon.
If you want to
green
sound
strings.
high, I suggest starting with a mandolin.
Jeez. This has some detail, man. It's got leaf inlays.
They went over the top. Like they like any part of this that isn't pot themed. You know that the person who put this together sat there for a long time and was like, how can I make the skunk stripe on the back of the neck pot themed?
Now
somehow?
here's the thing, right? This is
I'm surprised there's not pot inlays on the knobs.
The brand says JB. This might actually. Oh no, the guy's name is John Bartlett.
Yeah,
so he probably must have put these.
It's a parts base.
Right. I was gonna say like maybe those are inlays are actually just stickers.
I have a feeling they are.
And then you think it's just like a sticker, like a leaf wallpaper.
You know, I guess those the inlays aren't 100% pot specific. They might just. Oh no, they kind of are. Now that I see them,
they could be maple leaves. This could be a Canadian.
Yeah, it's a maple leaf. No, like
so when they're saying it's a 420 custom bass and they're asking $420, they're actually asking $340. That was a currency joke.
Oh my gosh, guys, bust out your currency calculators to figure out that one. I have a feeling those are stickers. I think those are sticker inlays.
They probably are. I mean, I don't think you would get a custom inlay like that and then turn around and sell the thing for $420.
So let's fully go through everything going on with this bass for the audio podcast listeners. You have a Telecaster style bass with a Telecaster headstock, a Telecaster body.
Yeah.
It's got a fabric top finish that's all pot leaves.
Do you think it's fabric?
It's some sort of print.
Yeah.
It's some sort of printed top graphic that is just hundreds and hundreds of pot leaves. It has those neon green powder coated strings.
Yeah, like the DR coated
to match the pot leaves. Then it has some sort of sticker or inlay that is roughly a pot leaf or maple leaf sort of theme.
The neck plate's got a pot leaf on it.
Yes.
I think that looks like a sticker.
Yeah, I think that's lasered.
You think it's lasered? Pew pew.
Pew pew. They lasered a pot leaf onto the neck plate. And then the rest of the guitar is green maple neck frets.
Is it bad that I kind of want this for the cringe?
It's got a Seymour Duncan pickup in it.
Yeah, it's got a nice little sparkle pick guard there.
Glittery pick guard. I've been curious about those glitter material pick guards. Like, what do they actually look like in person? I might have to try one on something.
Ships for $65, so for $485.
Do you think you already talked about this. You think he actually wants $420?
Yeah.
Like, is he that committed? Like, he's like, I've gone this far. I've committed so many pot themes to this bass. I have to sell it for $420.
I think if you
he's invested $3,000 into this. He's like, I've got to sell it for $420.
No, because I think this is like, aside from the Seymour Duncan quarter pounder pickup, I think, like you said, this is all parts.
Yeah.
Some refinish work, not necessarily a repainting, or like a respray or whatever, but some kind of refinish work.
If I was to buy this from him, there's no way I'm paying $65 for shipping.
Right.
I'm paying $69.
Oh my gosh.
And he's going to do a number joke. I'm going to do a number joke. Funny numbers, guys. One is the weed number and the other one is a sex number. As someone who took an edible,
hold on, we were talking about kids on a very recent episode, and my kid the other day I forget why, but we were talking about something, and she goes, "Oh yeah, we were doing this thing, and like, oh, it was the number 69, and that's funny because that's the internet number." And I'm like,
the internet number.
Oh man!
For one time in history, an internet thing is being taken as innocent. That's the internet number.
I don't know. I feel like she's 12. I feel like if she doesn't know,
oh my gosh,
if she knows it's the internet number, I feel like she's got to have like at some point, like on one of her devices, there's a search history that's like, why is 69? Why do dads always laugh at the number 69? Why is the number 69 so funny?
I'm going to have to explain the concept of 69 to my son. Because he's going to joke about it without knowing why he's joking about it. Are you just going to
be like, it's not funny and it's not a good time?
It's not as much fun as it sounds like it's going to be. Trust me. Just do regular sex. It's more fun. Just take turns. I mean, 69 sounds fun, but just take turns. You'll enjoy it more. But what I was going to say is... As coming from someone who just took an edible 20 minutes ago, pot themed things are always super ugly to me. Like, this is over the top. It's stupid.
This one is so ugly. I kind of feel like it comes back.
It's doing a joke at this point. But it is still like,
I think the joke is well executed.
I think the green strings make it.
Yeah.
The green strings make it make sense.
I'm just saying, if I came over the next time we record and this was hanging from your wall, I would just be like, nice.
Oh my gosh. I didn't start using weed or edibles until late in life, and I'm using them medicinally as a sleep aid.
Right.
Which has
You're
been
going to fall asleep any second.
No, which has been a miracle for me. It's been a medical miracle for me. But I'm really put off by this side of weed culture of like everything. Like, people have to know weed. Like, weed is my whole thing. Like, I don't like that. I don't get that.
Right,
and it was something that I was always been like very cautious of. Like, I don't really want to try marijuana because I don't want it to become my whole identity the way I see it happen to people. And this is the base of someone whose whole identity is weed. And I don't know,
man. He looks like a pretty normal dude.
Oh, I'm sure he's a cool dude. Like, I like theming things.
Right.
I like getting silly with the stuff that I love. I have a dinosaur themed band when we're active.
That's true.
But I don't have a guitar that's completely covered in dinosaur graphics. Although that does sound fun. I guess I can't judge too.
Yeah, why don't you, Ryan?
Why don't I? Maybe I should do that with the Jag Stang. I should cover it in dinosaur stickers.
I mean, that would be easier than repainting it, right?
That's true. It'd be cheaper. That's for sure. I don't know. What's your hot take, Steve? Wrap us up with
I already told you my hot take. If I came back,
you just say, "Oh, that's fun."
I'd be like,
"That's nice."
I'd just be like, "Oh, cool."
Steve, if I ever start going that direction, like theming anything in my life to be like weed themed, like, feel free to have an intervention.
I feel like if you were theming like this, like if all of a sudden I came in and there was like a Bob Marley post. No, I mean, I won't even say like if there was a Bob Marley poster, I'd be like, that's an interesting choice.
Right.
If I came in here and there was like a Dirty Heads poster, and in one of the patron chats I'm in for another show, somebody talked about how they want to go to some show that is Bob Marley. It's not Bob Marley and the Wailers. It's whatever the current remaining Marleys.
It's like Ziggy or something like that.
Ziggy Stardust and the Men from Mars or whatever.
That's something completely different. Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars.
Spiders from Mars,
not a reggae band.
But it's whatever.
And all the people you're talking about are dead. Bob Marley's dead. David Bowie's dead.
But it's a reggae festival, and so it's whoever like I said, Stephen Marley. Is it Stephen Marley?
If I ever get into the Grateful Dead, send help.
I don't know which Marley is the remaining Marley.
Sure,
there's more than one.
There's
a bunch of them,
Marleys.
and there's the Wailers are still a band.
The Marleys and Me's.
The point is, the rest of the lineup is like the Dirty Heads, Revolution, Sublime with Rome is on it. Interestingly enough, both Sublime with Rome and the Long Beach Dub All-Stars are playing this festival, which I'm very confused by. But anyway, it's this whole thing, and I'm just like...
That's like when I saw They Might Be Giants open for themselves.
What?
They played a show, and they opened for themselves with their new stuff as the opening set and their old stuff as the headlining set.
That's kind of cool.
It was actually a lot of fun.
So this whole thing, and I'm looking, I'm like, that is the widest, like, lineup I've ever seen. Because again, it's the Wailers, and it's like a very classic reggae act, and then all of the other like headliners on there are just like stereotypical Southern California white guy reggae.
Right.
Where you're just like, so my point is, if I came in here and I saw the space by itself, I'd be like, that's funny. That's cool.
But if it was a whole thing,
if it started being a thing where you're like, I'm just gonna like subtly drop a pot sticker on like a pot leaf sticker.
I have like
on guitars,
a video series, Bong Rips and Riffs. Someone steal that now, because I don't want to do it.
Instead of Bang, Marry, Kill, you're hey Steve, I got this new idea for a game. It's called Bong, Marry, Kill. It's you pick the item that you would want to marry, you pick the item that you'd want to kill, and you pick the item that you'd want to get high with.
That doesn't even make sense.
Well, you don't want to get high with the person you get married to, right, bro?
Let's talk about other things. This is so annoying.
Oh, let's talk about our first sponsor of this week, Chase Bliss Audio.
Like, I know a lot of people that are big into marijuana, and the ones that I like as people, as my friends, aren't big into marijuana culture.
Right. There's a separation between.
Right. Like the cult, like that, the novelty culture of it is so off-putting to me.
Yeah.
All right. Talk about the sponsor.
It just feels very lowest common denominator, I think.
It's worse than being into guitars.
Oh my God.
And that's pretty bad.
This week's first sponsor is Chase Bliss Audio.
I've just pissed off all the stoners in the audience.
The Therme.
Yeah.
They make it.
The Therme is one of my favorite. I feel like my favorite delay pedals.
I'm just gonna keep going back to this. I feel like weed culture. It crossed from like kind of this annoying thing where you're like, okay, I get it. You smoke, okay, whatever. To where, but it was like, okay, that's your countercultural form of rebellion. Is you're gonna put this sticker on there, and then people are gonna be like, what? Oh, you're a horticulturalist?
Right.
Oh, you like to grow plants? Me too. Well, you ought to come see my tomato farm sometime.
Like, anytime something becomes someone's entire personality, it's like, this is over the top.
But now it's like more funny to me because to see stuff like this, because, you know, I forget how long ago now that it was legalized in California. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, but it's long enough ago now where it's like,
now especially that it's legal, it makes it feel extra lame, right?
In some ways, I feel like smoking is actually more acceptable than drinking in California.
I wouldn't say smoking, because if you're smoking in public, people are like, what the hell are you doing?
Fair. Consuming THC in various forms is more acceptable. Versus like before it was like, oh, I got edibles. Now it's like you said, like, oh, I take
it's a sleep aid.
Takes THC as a sleep aid. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, Chase Bliss Audio. This is the Therme. This is a great pedal to smoke and play. You'll get high, play some.
Oh my gosh, stop.
Flip some knobs.
This is the worst episode ever. The Therme is a fantastic delay pedal.
It is a fantastic delay pedal.
I pitched it the last episode as well. We had it on the table still, so here we are talking about it again. But it is fantastic. It is a great standalone, normal sounding delay pedal on its normal settings. It has all the dip switches on the back if you want to start to get crazier. But if you want to get really crazy with this, it has 2 knobs that give you 2 different like pitches for the repeats, 2 different pitch modulations for the repeats. You could have one pitch modulation going 2 octaves low. You could have the next pitch modulation going 2 octaves high, and options in between. And all kinds of freaky things with different time signatures and different wave shapes and different like step patterns and stuff like that. It's a ton of fun to mess around with, and it's a great set ender. You know, you want a set ender, you want to like freaky sounds at the last song, on that last song, as this drummer's going crazy and the other guitarist is playing a solo, and you just want to explode with noise and stuff like that. The Therme. Because you leave it on a normal setting and then you just start racking these knobs and getting into weird stuff and having fun. And then of course it's got presets on there, so you can always get back to your normal sounds. Or you can call up that crazy, ridiculous sound you found one night while playing your weed bass. And you got to save it. You don't have to find that secret recipe. You saved it in a preset. So Chase Bliss Audio, they've been sponsoring the show for a long time. Send them a thanks by going and buying one. Just buy some Chase Bliss pedals, guys. It's easy. Just bust out the credit card, buy a whole bunch of them. Whatever they have available, buy every single one. All right, what's next? Next ad?
What's next is what's new.
What's new? I don't know if I have a what's new.
I do.
All right.
Because I didn't do one recently. So recently,
2 weeks ago, you didn't do one.
Yeah. I threw a picture up on Instagram. I started to put together a big year themed board. I ended up filling in a couple gaps with pedals from other places. You know, because you got to do what you got to do.
You got to have a delay.
You got to have a delay. So I got the DoD rubberneck on there. I wanted a boost. So I got a AWOL, who actually Big Ear is who introduced us to AWOL. Grant introduced us to AWOL pedals. So I've got the AWOL, whatever. What's the boost? It's not the virus. It's the other one.
I've got them in a drawer over there.
Yeah.
If you can find it really quick. The Nano.
The Nano.
The Nano is the boost.
Nano.
The virus is the fuzz, and the
flow.
The flow is the auto filter.
Auto filter. Yeah. So I've got that thing all put together, and I got it all dialed in. I'm using the Loaf as an overdrive. It's a super bassy overdrive, which is...
You're doing it with bass?
This is with the guitar. So. Okay.
Yeah, the Loaf is technically a fuzz, but it pushes into the overdrive side of fuzz. Like it's a softer, smoother feeling fuzz.
And then actually, I think I may have switched it a little, and I may be using the woodcutter more as an overdrive, and I may make the Loaf more of a mid-gain fuzz.
I've been using the woodcutter a lot lately. I've been really favoring that pedal.
Yeah, it's great. And so I put this board together, and I really like the different sounds I can get out of it. I was using my Strat, which is funny because that was just the guitar that I found. I pulled out a bag, and I was trying to find my Telecaster, and found my Strat instead. And so I did all that, and then I had the HX Stomp out, and I was looking at the presets that I got from you, and they're all kind of doing a lot of things.
They do a lot.
They do a lot of things. There were a couple ones I liked, but I was like, I want to look at a couple. I really like the Surf one. Obviously,
sure.
Like the Surf one's really well dialed in. But the delay that's on there is like a super slap back delay, and I wanted like a longer delay. So I kind of started with that, like what are the different things in here? And I built my own thing, and I ended up building just and I didn't do a lot of adjustments to it, but I just built a really simple patch that I eventually added a compressor to it, but I haven't actually tested the compressor at all. So when I just first put it together, it was a Tube Screamer, what do they call it? Like Screamer 808 or whatever. Right. And then the one of the delays, it's the Adriatic delay. I don't know what it's supposed to be. And then their RV6 modulated reverb model, which is called the Ganymede, and then a US, whatever the Deluxe. Reverb
the Deluxe is a good model on there.
And I put that all together, and then I assigned the Tube Screamer and the delay to be able to turn those ones off and on.
Sounds like you've been doing stuff.
I figure reverb will always be on. I'm always going to want reverb, and but drive, I want to be able to turn that off and on, and delay, I want to turn that off and on. I put this whole thing together, and first I just plug into that, and I'm like, okay, this sounds cool. Then I turn the drive off, I turn the delay off, and I'm like, okay, I like this. Amp sound is fine. It's a fine, clean sound. It's pretty neutral. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to run my pedal board through it. And then I was like, well, hold on. Let me turn all this stuff back on. And then I was like, do I even need to plug this pedal board into it?
What I've done when I use the HX Stomp as part of my pedal board is that I kind of max it out as the amp. What I like to do is get creative with splitting the signal to go into 2 amps, into different cabs with different mics, and then sum it back to mono. And so I chew up a lot of the DSP with just doing that. And then I'll throw one of the really freaky, like hyper modulated delays on there for like, really getting crazy or something like that. Yeah. Just if there's space. And then I rely on the rest of my pedal board for drives and whatnot.
Yeah.
But you certainly can, like, especially if you run a relatively simple signal flow, you certainly can just use the HX Stomp for your entire pedal board.
So I was telling RJ about this over RJ from Teletalks, and I was like, hey man, I put this HX Stomp thing together, and I don't know, like, I think I could just use this. And he goes, well, yeah. He's like, and it's true. He goes, yeah, you could do. And he was telling me about snapshot mode, which I'm just using like the basic features. And
I haven't gotten into that, but I know about it.
And he was saying like, yeah, you could just create like a snapshot for each song that you do. And then, and he goes, worship church musicians, you guys put together these like big pedal boards. You go out and play 3 songs. I go, hold on.
Sometimes it's 5 songs.
We're playing 4 songs. But it was just like, I wouldn't say it's frustrating. We always talk about like, it's not about the gear from the sense of like, I don't think it's ever, I think it's very rarely, I gotta have this pedal. Like there's a bunch of different reverb pedals that will do what I want, but there's some that I think do it maybe a little better than others, or there's some that are just more straightforward, and I appreciate the simplicity. I'm never going to be like, well, if you're playing church music, you got to have a timeline or an El Cap or whatever. Like you just got to have what you got to have. And then again, I put this very simple tube screamer, delay, reverb, amp, and I went, well, shoot, I could just take this. I don't actually need a pedal board.
And the thing
what I would want, I think, is an expression pedal to have volume.
What like a lot of like the redundancy on my church board is like for gain stacking and stuff,
right?
Or like stacking delays and reverbs, and really it's about like jumping from a light gain to a heavy gain, jumping from a short delay to a long delay. With the snapshots and stuff like that, you can do that.
Yeah,
with presets, you can do that without changing the models you're using. You're just changing the settings.
Yeah.
So it's like, I need a longer delay, or I need a more upfront delay.
Yeah.
Or I need more gain. Like you can just save presets that do that for you instead of having, millions of pedals and stuff like that. So there's a reason why a few years back we saw so many praise and worship players jump over the Helix.
Yeah.
Because it's
convenient.
The
Helix, you have like a ton of options.
Right. The HX Stomp is the same architecture and is the same patches. The difference with the Helix is that you can just run more at the same time. Mm-hmm. But if you're getting what you need out of the HX Stomp, then it's the same stuff.
So the other thing about this that was kind of goofy is I was doing this at night, and I think everyone was, I don't know, I was in the kitchen for some reason doing all this. I think just because we have an island, and so there's a lot of room to work. Then I ended up taking my pedal board and putting it, we have a glass top electric stove. So I put my pedal board on top of the stove, put the HX Stomp,
melted it.
Yeah, I put the HX Stomp next to that. I plugged in everything there, and I was like, this is better than having it all on the floor. Like for the purposes of like dialing things in. Sure. Like having everything at standing up level, I was like, why have I never done this before? Like this is so much better.
I don't know if you remember the Pod XT rig I used to have. That I
Yeah.
would run at church. What I would do is I had the floor controller for it.
Yeah.
And then I would have the pod bean up on a stool next to me.
Right.
And I would make adjustments and save things while I was playing.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's the same thing with the HX Stomp stuff. It's like, it's nice when you're building the presets to be able to sit there and twiddle the knobs and not have to bend over and stuff. I like to build the presets at my computer and do it with the app.
Yeah, I was looking at some of those. I just didn't. I was looking at the app and stuff, but I didn't have a guitar handy to like mess around with it there.
My big suggestion is like listen to music while you're building your presets and play along and to make sure that like the tones you're coming up with are realistic and normal.
Right.
Because you can get yourself in trouble coming up with stuff that makes no sense in a mix, but sounds really, really cool by itself. But then like it gets in a mix and it's like, what the heck was I thinking? Like this is nonsense.
Yeah. So anyway, like I said, I put together a Big Ear pedal board. You know who sponsors the show, Ryan?
Big Ear.
Big Ear pedals. You know what's on my board? There's an Albie on my board.
Is there an L?
There's an L on my board.
So you've got modulation and reverbs and delays and another reverb.
Yeah. So I found a couple settings on the Albie that I think I'm going to be using that are to kind of fill in because I don't have a chorus on my board.
I tend to favor like the middle section, like the 4 and the 5.
Yeah, I think I was using one of those has like a phasery chorusy thing on it. I forget which one.
If you don't know what the Albie is a multi-effect pedal. You might be thinking, that doesn't look like a multi-effect pedal. It's a curated multi-effect pedal. What that means is that there's 8 LEDs here. Each one is a specially dialed in set of multi-effects, and all you get is a blend control to decide how much or how little that you want. You don't have to do deep menu dives like you do on the Helix stuff that we were just talking about. You want multiple effects at the same time to do like ambient sounds, kind of new wavy sounds. It gets it done quick. You don't have to sit there dialing in a lot of stuff, and it all sounds really good because it was dialed in by tone professionals. There's my pitch.
Go head over to bigearpedals.com. Follow them on Instagram to find out when they're releasing new stuff.
Yeah.
Follow them on TikTok.
Grant's been really fun on TikTok. He's been doing some fun stuff.
All right, that's it. What's our next ad? Lego guitar.
Lego guitar. This has been shared a bunch of times. I'm sure a lot more times since this episode is being recorded like 3 weeks in advance. I'm very impressed by it. I was a Lego boy growing up. I still love Legos. I don't play with them very often, but sometimes I play with my kids.
Is this an official thing?
It is through their website. They have a thing.
Lego ideas.
They have a thing. I don't know the full specifics, but you can, I think you can virtually build things and then get them turned into products.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think this had enough backing or enough support that they made it into a thing with packaging that you can buy. But look at this. It is a STRAT kit with a Princeton reverb kit. And they made little Fender logos and graphics for everything. And the guitar is impressive, yes. But look at the detail of the amp. I kind of want this just to build a Lego Princeton reverb. Look at the top open.
Oh my gosh,
That's
wild.
It's full of capacitors and tubes and components and stuff. I mean, it's all broken down into very basic little Lego things, but they made it look like a hand-wired amp. Look at the back of the amp. There's tubes, there's a speaker, there's cables going to the speaker. So there is a reverb pan.
Oh my gosh.
Built into this Lego amp.
So that's the thing is the first picture of this is
there's a freaking serial number on the back of the amp. There's the power switches back there. It is all very simple block Lego representations of these things, but the amp is over the top amazing.
All right, I gotta look something up. This thing looks pretty cool.
It's $100.
It's $100, but here's the thing.
This is a good gift for the guitarist in your life for Christmas. Like, this is a good one. If you know that they like guitar and they like Lego.
I was gonna say this is probably a good gift for like the millennial guitarist in your life.
This is like a perfect Venn diagram.
If you give this
Christmas
to like
gift.
your grandpa, he's gonna be like, "What the hell is wrong with
Right. But But like a 40-year-old, like someone our age, 35 to 40, somewhere in that range, plays guitar, used to play with Legos, maybe still plays with Legos. It's honestly amazing. And it could be a red Strat or a black Strat. Obviously, I'd go with red.
That's the thing that I was cracking up is it comes to the second body.
Right. My first thought when I saw it was like, man, I kind of wish it was a Jazzmaster.
Oh my gosh.
I wonder if I could build a Jazzmaster. Like, how hard would it be to tweak that?
Probably not too bad.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find like a comparable product from other Lego series. The problem is I'm not finding anything that's exactly $100. Well, here, Lego Star Wars Death Star Final Duel. This is sold. Looks like it's sold through Disney. What I want to know is this is a 775 piece kit for $100. This is a 1,000-piece kit. This Fender Stratocaster thing. So $100. My whole point is $100 actually isn't that bad.
No, it really isn't, and it's big. It's not a little. It's not a little like baggy kit thing. Like you see this guy holding it. It's decent size for a Lego kit. If I was an obnoxious guy with an obnoxious office that had little trinkets out, I would for sure have this.
There's just so many. Here's a Lego Santa's Visit. It's sold directly through Lego.com.
I mean, I'm fawning over the amp, and the guitar's really cool too. You build a guitar stand and a foot switch for the amp, like everything.
There's so many little details.
It's got a strap.
Do you see the pics?
It's got a strap.
You see the pics?
I do see the pics.
I don't understand the little. It has a little like. They're not going to be used as jewel lights. I don't know what they would be used for that are on the side. I've been trying to figure that out.
I don't know either. Or maybe they're extra little. Usually you get little extra parts for replacements.
Yeah, but you usually don't put them on the...
I think it might be internal stuff for the guts of the amp. Like, if you blow a capacitor or something like that, you need to have replacements. It looks perfect.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. It's pretty cool, I guess.
Do they sell it on Amazon? I want to have affiliate links and I want to promote this.
I don't know.
I might have to get one for myself. Someone send it to my wife. Like I've said so many times, like guitarists don't need to be reminded that they're a guitarist. They just want to have guitars. I think this is an exception. Well, in my rule,
this is an exception because this is a cross section of two different like fandoms.
I think if I could just...
and you build it. Like, this isn't just like, oh, you got me a poster of a random guitar. Like, this is a branded...
Here's what you do. You get your loved one this kit for Christmas. You're like, here you go, honey. And they're like, oh, wow, that's amazing. Thanks, honey. This is a great present. And then there's a bigger present under the tree. And they pull it out and they unwrap it. And oh my gosh... It's a full real deal amp kit from like Mojo or something like that. Gosh. And it's a Princeton kit. So now they've got to build two Princetons. I don't know. I think it's whoever designed it. It's chef's kiss.
It's in stock. $100.
That would be a fun video to build that.
Let's see if it's on Amazon. It does not appear to be on Amazon.
No, it's probably good. It's all got to be direct through Lego.
Probably, yeah, only through Lego.
Yeah. I wonder if I could modify that guitar shape to be a Jazzmaster.
I mean, I don't see why not. You probably have to like...
it's all very specific parts to get that shape. I don't know how many red pieces I have in the old Lego collection.
Well, and that would be the thing is you got to have the right...
Yeah.
Because you got to make this part curve more.
Like it's all very specific to get that shape. All right, let's do one more ad. And get the heck out of there.
Let's do some housekeeping.
Sure, do the housekeeping.
Housekeeping is a part of the show where all I'm going to say at this point is if you'd like to support the show, head on over to patreon.com. /60 Cycle Homecast, or click the link down below or to the side or wherever it is. And for as little as $1 a month, you can support this madness.
Yeah. Also, We're doing the wheel again. You already know that because this episode is coming out after our 400th episode, and we did a lot of wheeling on the 400th, didn't we? I'll put up the address up here. Send us a letter or a postcard with your return address clearly written out or printed. We will spin the wheel on the next episode or whatever episode we're doing when we get your letter, and we will send you pedals. Pedals with an S. We will send you stuff, guys. We'll spin the wheel for you. And that, all the shipping and stuff like that, why I bring this up, is covered by the Patreons, unless we've landed a sponsor or something like that. But Patreons do make it possible. We pay for the P.O. box with Patreon money and stuff like that. So if you want to support the show, you're also supporting that really fun thing that we started doing again to give away pedals.
All right, this last ad was sent by Michael Kraus.
It's for walkie-talkies, Steve.
It's for talking Tokai.
We're talking Tokai. We've got 2 transceivers. They're 9 transistor transceivers, and batteries rotted in them. Did you ever mess around with CB radios, Steve?
No.
I think the reason this was sent to us is because their Tokai brand, which was also a guitar brand.
Is it the same Tokai?
I wouldn't be surprised. It's probably like a Yamaha sort of thing.
Tokai Communication Apparatus Corp.
Honestly, I look at them and I think Ed Chu should buy them and build some pedals into them. They might already be really close to being fuzz pedals. Look at all the components in there. There's a bunch of trim pots. There's a bunch of little
oh man, $30. Very cool vintage CB transceivers as is. The battery compartments had corrosion. I was able to pull one off and use a 9-volt battery instead. When I did that, I did receive some static. The other one had corroded off, so I could not try the same thing. These are for somebody good with fixing radios or a radio hobby.
I think they look cool. But yeah, I think like an Ed Chu type person could buy these and convert them into being a really cool looking fuzz pedal. Like it's long, like an old school, like fuzz bender, tone bender sort of thing. I think that's a perfect fuzz pedal enclosure. Or you could make it a little amp pedal and turn the speaker into an amp.
Oh, I like that idea.
For $30, you get 2 of them. That's the only reason I wanted to look at that ad. I doubt it's worth, harvesting any of the components out of there to try to make something as far as the pedal circuit goes, but who knows? I don't know how to do that stuff. Some of you know how to do that stuff. Tell us in the comments if you think that's a good idea, getting these old Tokai walkie-talkies and turning them into some sort of guitar gear. I think it's just cool that they are Tokai.
Yeah.
When that was a guitar brand. It was like a guided tone style brand, right? Oh, gross.
I don't really know their full
the full story.
The full story. I know they were
Tokai
one of the
fans,
more popular ones.
Hit us up in the comments.
I'm also kind of lost because I am actually not seeing Tokai Wireless Company Limited.
Maybe it never really existed. Does that mean?
That's you.
What the hell?
What was that?
Something my internet browser was on, apparently.
They manufactured radios as Tokai, Vesper, Cha-Cha, and Lifetone. I think this is a different Tokai.
Well, it still has the same name.
Yeah,
and that's cool.
This is because Tokai guitars and basses were founded as a manufacturer of electric guitars and basses in 1947. It doesn't look like they manufactured anything else. I think it's just, I don't know what.
Well, whatever.
I mean,
they still look cool.
It's a neat thing, and the fact that the name is the same. I
really like the grill on the speaker.
Mm.
All right.
Yeah.
Tell us about the song. Let's get out of here. Steve wasn't ready to tell us about the song, apparently.
I'm not. Oh, Tokai is a region.
Ah.
It's a sub-region in Japan.
So it's like Shinzei, or however it's pronounced?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so, yeah. Kind of.
We get all these emails from pedal companies and import companies out of Shinzei.
Right.
And they always like, hey, Xingzhe here. And they don't mean the company. They mean like, hey, I'm here in Xingzhe, which is like Music Town in China or whatever.
Songs for episode. Hey guys, love your show. This is from Drew Eichholtz. It's a lot of fun, and I look forward to each Monday for each episode. How do you prefer to get songs? Oh, I told him, send it over. He said, this song was recorded our freshman or sophomore year of high school, and then the video recorded in our senior year. The drums are generic electric rig played by the guy with the Packers hat, with me playing bass, some kind of J bass, if I remember correctly, DI'd, and a Gretsch Electromatic DI with the Crybaby from Hell left toe down during the choruses. Pretty simple setup, but looking back, I'm surprised the guitar tone sounded halfway decent, especially with that CFH going. Additional context of the video: this is a sequel. This is a sequel in a trio. Part 1, we plead for Steve. Okay, we plead for Steven to become his own person. Part 2 finds the protagonist having lost someone who cut all ties with the past life. Part 3 was concerned with life after Steven returned. High school me was.
Is this about you?
Creature? No,
a different Steven. What's some video? Is that a first act guitar?
Yes.
Steven set my soul free. Steven, you're all I Steven, you make me cry. And every time I see you, it makes me wanna die. Steven, why didn't you stay? Now that you're gone, I have to run away.
Oh my god, lens flare.
He could have given that guitar to a kid.
He's already a kid, Steve. That's what happens when you give guitars to kids. You know what that reminds me of? The very early days of your favorite band. Like, that's exactly the stuff we were doing.
Wait, there's more.
What? Yeah. This is all very familiar to me. I love it. Thank you for sending that to us. Thank you for blessing us with that. It makes me wish I was a kid again. All right. Bye, everyone.
Stay grounded.